Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the number one growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monte and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monte and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monte the Pharaoh, Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for it. Straight to the top, working hard every day just to live a better way.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen only here at Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board is none other than super producer Matt. Matt, how are you, buddy?
Doing great as always.
And to the right of me is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you?
Good evening, ladies and germs. Back again.
We missed last week.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been out for like a month. I don't know why.
Maybe. A couple of
Feels
blinks.
like a long time. So,
it's all
a few
good.
things have happened since we've been out.
A few things. Oh, yeah.
Looks like we have a new president. Want to weigh in? Matt, you can weigh in too.
How you feel out there, Matt, about this being the voice of the younger generation?
You know, I like that a lot of people voted, but it
Okay.
also kind of concerns me that a lot of people voted.
Okay. Why would that concern you that a lot of people are voting?
I know it sounds ridiculous, but people are talking about interference in our election, and I think from the outside that we're being influenced to be more political of a nation, you know, more split left and right.
Okay.
And
So what do you think? We've hit Super Bowl numbers? Is that what you're saying here? Like, you know, everybody's... what is it? It's not a good thing to be too involved with the public getting involved in the election process?
I think more people than ever are like really into this political process and are staking so much on it, you know. So much stress and anxiety every day.
Do you think it has to do with more that Donald Trump was president and their feelings either strongly for Trump or President Trump or
I
negatively?
definitely think that is part of it, yeah.
Yeah, he's been quite the polarizing figure one way or the other, safe to say, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Farrah?
I respect the process, just like I respected the process 4 years ago. I'm sure that it's going to be contested. You can tell that this is not going smoothly. Am I a fan of that? Not necessarily. But look, if President Trump feels that he was wronged, I do think he does have legal recourse to look into it. And I think the public is owed a valid explanation, one way or the other, you know, to the final results to confirm it to the public. So in the meantime, we're going to be in a holding pattern, which I thought we were going to be. I'm not too thrilled that he's not, you know, trying to transfer or help things with Biden along the way.
Well, we haven't got that point yet, right? So we're in the beginning.
I know.
You know.
It's weird. I don't know what to think about a lot of it, you know. I guess he shouldn't have to do anything if he feels he's been wronged. So, you know, it's messy, and I knew it was going to be messy. If you would ask me before all of this, I could tell you that this was probably going to happen one way or the other. And if it had been reversed and Biden was the one who had been declared the loser, I'm sure they would be launching an investigation, too. You could see that this was coming. You know, it's just so much fighting.
The one trouble I have with the whole situation, and I'm trying to just stay out of it. Matt, you weigh in on this too, man, because you're the younger generation. For 4 years, people who are against President Trump, or I don't want to say left, that's not a fair statement. We'll just say for 4 years if you were against Donald Trump.
Yeah. I hate labels.
It was nonstop.
Anyway.
It was nonstop.
Yeah.
And now that
it was nonstop.
Now that future President Biden will be in office, now the same people are like, can't we just get along? Can't we just all get along and make the country better?
I find it hilarious. I mentioned off air when we came in, and again, as you know, I'm not thrilled with most politicians. I don't care what side they're from. I find it very hypocritical that a guy like Chuck Schumer, who spent the last 4 years just barking up Donald Trump's anus, has decided that we should all move along now and quit your bitching and all this other stuff. What are you talking about? You bitched the entire 4 years.
No, I think as a country, we have to heal. We have to heal. But
I would like to see that.
But
that needs to happen.
My point is like, don't be the humble winner.
And the sorest loser
possible. Really.
Right.
It's like, you've been listening to the rhetoric for 4 years, and I'm just,
I'm just thinking
Right.
about some in particular people
Right.
that I've watched do this nonsense
Right.
for a long time. And now that you have what you wanted,
Right.
now let's all
Now
get
you're
along.
gracious?
Now,
Right.
again, I always want to get along. I love this country. I've always loved this country. And
Sure.
you know what? The people have spoken, in my opinion.
Right.
You're right. President Trump has a right to challenge
Yes.
the voting.
Yes.
Do I think it's
Not
going
to
to go
the
anywhere?
detriment of the future of the country, though. I want, we got to have some sort of smooth transition when the final result is finally confirmed and stuff. There's got to be a smooth transition.
Well, I have to believe that President Trump is a great American and loves this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that he would do nothing but that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he doesn't,
Right.
it's just...
Yeah, then it becomes me and not us.
Matt, what do you think about being the happy winner?
Well, I think that you should be a gracious winner, take it in. But I've always thought it a bit silly that, like you said, they're never going to get along. They never have. And I think it's a bit silly that you have to control Congress and the presidency to really accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I that's the one thing I hope in the future is that the president, whoever is the president, red or blue, has the Senate or Congress behind them.
Right.
Because that's the only thing you're going to be able to do policies for the here and now.
The best presidents, if you look back on the course of history, usually had the support of the Senate and the Congress. In general, they didn't go out always to barbecues together, but they had the respect. And as I said many times, Donald Trump was the guy who came and invaded the private barbecue. He did something no one else has ever done. He was not a career politician, and he invaded the private barbecue. And you see what happens when a celebrity comes in and invades the private barbecue. We had 4 years of bickering and screaming and fighting. I really don't think that that's what's best.
All I'm hoping for is that the virus goes away.
That would be
people get their jobs back.
vital.
And there's a change. So
Yep.
that's all I'm hoping for.
Yep.
Anyway, I'd like to
Respect the
thank our
process.
own Jimmy Farrell along with his partner Bart Griggs. They're part of the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as Riding High, In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on Spotify, iTunes Nation, and Reverb Nation. Monte The Pharaoh can be seen on YouTube, Facebook Live on the Monte The Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 p.m. till 7:30, and then on Saturday from 6 a.m. to 6:30, and on Channel 20 on Friday at 2:30 in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break. You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Jimmy, one of the most hated guys in professional wrestling nowadays. We
Me?
could call him, no, not you.
Oh, okay.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I love him. What's the problem now?
Recently, Alexa Bliss was standing up for the WWE. Her statement is, the WWE takes care of us 100%. We are in a contract, and anything that happens inside the ring, the WWE takes care of. Our health is 100% priority. Our health and safety is 100% priority in the company. Unfortunately, we're living in the middle of a cancel culture where people try to start rumors to make their assumption of things. There has been a time where I have felt uncomfortable about being in the ring, or
Never has been a time.
Never. Sorry, that's right.
Yep.
Or ever felt forced of being in the ring, even when I was injured. I had concussions, and Vince said, "All right, we're going to send you in to see our best specialist." Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
And she also mentions they went above and beyond to take care of her, and she also knows that everyone in the company feels this way about how they're treated. Very interesting. Well, if that's coming from Alexa and she's working there currently, does it really matter who Joe Blow from Idaho, what he says on his keyboard in his basement while his mom's serving him burned brownies? I don't give a shit. Good for her. I mean, she's saying what goes on.
You think she's just towing a company line?
Why would she? What does she got to gain by that? She's got a guaranteed contract. Vince,
I agree. Why even make the statement, right? If you didn't think that, you wouldn't say that, right?
I'll tell you why. Because maybe she's sick and tired of hearing all the crap, maybe.
What I think people are getting sick and tired of is, and people who work for Vince McMahon, is they respect him. We've had wrestlers in here said that he has this father figure, right?
Yeah, most of them do.
You know what? Maybe they're tired. And, Vince is getting older.
Yeah.
And, maybe they want people to understand how great this guy is.
Some of them have had great experiences with Vince McMahon and adore him. God forbid that ever be said.
I don't think there's some. It seems like a lot.
A lot of them do.
Right?
Yeah, sure. By the way, I thought this was interesting. When we had Demolition on recently, Demolition made the great point that while they've been fighting with Vince about stuff like chair shots, they were saying, well, our fight against Vince has made these guys safer, right?
Right.
Because now they won't be maybe so exposed to
Which
chair
was a
shots.
great comment, by
Which
the
was
way.
a great comment. But guess what? Guess who's undoing it?
Who?
Guess who's undoing it?
Who?
Hey, who's the face of the independent? What company is the face of the independent? Screw you, Vince. AEW. Cody Rhodes wants to bring back chair shots. So Demolition just said that we're doing all this fighting to make sure. And Cody Rhodes like, let's bring him back. There's safe ways to do it. And then you know what happened to him when he got hit with one recently by Spears. So it's like
I had no idea.
It's
that
interesting.
He wants to bring back
That
chair
just
shots.
broke, by the way. So it's not on you. And you're usually the guy
Again,
breaking everything.
do you
for me.
consider a chair shot a head shot or a body shot?
I
or
consider
both?
a chair shot usually. Well, it depends on where you're hit, but a chair shot to the head, if you go sideways, you are going to hurt someone.
Right.
And Sean Spears should know that after all these years because he swung sideways.
Sure.
You got to swing over the top when you're hitting somebody with a gimmick chair, by the way, not a Larry Zbyszko, Bruno Sammartino steel chair from back in the day. There's ways to do it. Sure there is. But I find it funny that Demolition is willing to fight for this. They feel so strongly about it that they'll forsake a chance at the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. And there's Cody going, let's bring back the chair shots.
Right.
I'm like, what the?
Makes sense.
Anyway,
It
just an
makes
interesting
sense.
point I wanted to throw at you. What else you got?
Talking
here?
about injuries, Nia Jax seems like she's injured another superstar. There's speculation from fans. Speculation. Tony Atlas, speculation. From fans of sites such as Sportskeeda that Mandy Rose was injured on November 9th on Raw. Rose landed awkwardly on the apron after being thrown through the ropes by Nia Jax, clutched her shoulder, and quickly was taken to the back by officials.
At what point, how many more people is Nia Jax going to maul before somebody figures out you're unsafe?
Maul.
Now, Rikishi,
Right.
who was huge, was a safe worker. Yokozuna was huge, was a safe worker.
Right.
I wouldn't let Nia Jax put an armbar on me. Nia Jax is a reckless brute.
Wow.
And I'm sorry. How many people have to get hurt? You want me to be nicer about it? She's green as shit for someone who's still, has been around for how many years now?
Right.
You're green as shit. You hurt people. Alexa Bliss was tiny. Mandy Rose, we've met Mandy. Mandy's tiny. She's in great shape, but she's tiny. Proceed with caution. You big, giant walking pillowcase. What is this? She's brutal. I would run from her, by the way. I would never say this. I'd be like, no, please. You win. You win. I'm going the other way. You're more of a man than I am. You happy? Bye. Fuck that. She's dangerous as shit. I wouldn't even let her come in as a guest because I'd be afraid for Matt.
I'd be afraid for us.
I'd be very afraid, especially after what I just said.
All right, we'll be back right after this commercial break. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, For all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
All right, welcome back to Monte The Pharaoh's Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Only seen here at Indie Music TV in Long Island, New York. So I've been watching a little AEW, my friend.
Not me.
This week, a woman came in named Jade. I want to make sure I got her name right. I probably couldn't jack it up. Cargill teased a Cody versus Shaquille O'Neal match.
What are you trying to do to me this week? What are you trying to do to me? Why? Why would we want that?
I don't know. You tell me, Pharaoh.
I can't.
You start the show.
I can't. I cannot tell you. I cannot give you one reason why I would want to see Cody Rhodes versus Shaquille O'Neal in a ring. I can't. What is that going to be? A spectacular athletic contest?
Let me ask you this: we've been watching wrestling most of our lives, if not all our lives, right? Do you think it's just a good move for AEW to bring in a star like Shaquille O'Neal just to get the whole AEW movement going around, you know?
Well, if that's the case, isn't that a page out of Vince McMahon's textbook?
Well,
So
I think it's a page out of a
should
bunch,
stare in
right?
the mirror if they pull that one off. I mean, yeah. I don't. It depends though. Shaquille O'Neal was a superstar 20 years ago. Is he really a superstar now, or is he just a legendary retired basketball player?
I don't know. Mike Tyson was a...
Mike Tyson could get in the ring tomorrow, and the pay-per-views would be through the roof. Shaquille O'Neal got in the court, there'd be a big broom and a dustpan.
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's a sound strategy
Yeah.
to bring in
I don't think it's foolish.
star?
I don't think it's foolish, but I got to tell you, I don't want to see Cody Rhodes versus, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, seriously, if they wanted to bring a star in and think big, they would have brought in CM Punk. Let him fight Cody Rhodes.
Let's go through a
I
list.
bet you everybody out there wants to see that.
Let's go
That
through
would
a
be cool.
list.
What do you got?
Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
What did she do for wrestling?
Quite a bit, and have they even put her in the Hall of Fame?
No.
She was huge for that, but you have to also put yourself in the time period. You're talking about the early days of MTV. MTV was like the Super Bowl ratings to kids like us, okay? So millions and millions of people were glued to MTV. Vince McMahon, being the genius that he was, realized, hey, rock and wrestling, what a marriage that would make.
Right.
Let me jump on this, and Cyndi Lauper at the time was a superstar. It was perfect. He was absolutely brilliant to do that.
So what about...
Shaquille O'Neal versus Cody? This is, who cares?
Would it be fair to me to say there's probably about 2 million, 2.5 million wrestling fans out there? Top.
It's weird. There may be more, but in general, about 2 million or so tune in every week.
So do you think it's a good idea to bring a star in and bring in new fans? Let me ask you this. We were fans. Back then when Cyndi came in, you were a rocker, right? You weren't a pop music person.
I was a metalhead.
Right.
1985.
What were your feelings when Cyndi Lauper entered your world of professional wrestling?
I didn't mind because she was integrated into, number one, an awesome storyline, okay? And the players in that storyline were eternally memorable.
But didn't you feel like
Hogan and Piper,
you didn't want all these outsiders coming in this little secret planet that you were involved in?
I didn't feel that way at the time. No, I didn't. I did not feel that way. Should I have felt that way?
I don't know.
I didn't feel that way.
I bet you a lot of people did.
I felt that wrestling is a show, and it's an athletic contest, and back then Vince McMahon was really balancing the two quite spectacularly. The show aspect was wonderful. It was way over the top, and it was exciting. And the in-ring stuff was fine. And besides, it wouldn't have gotten over having
was its own little
wrestling
was its own little world, though, right?
It was. Oh, you're talking about before Hogan became Hogan.
No, but even when that whole thing started, it still was our little secret. You know what I mean?
Well, who am I to be so selfish to say the rest of the world
I'm just
can't
asking
enjoy
you
pro
your
wrestling?
thoughts, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
How about
It
Floyd
depends.
Mayweather recently when he was involved with the Big Show? How did you think that
wasn't
was?
so recent. It's
Well,
getting to be a long
recently-
time ago. That was cool. See, that was cool. Because at the time, Floyd Mayweather was on top of his game. He was a boxing champion. He was very, very, what's the right word here? He was very flamboyant. Media loved him. He's a star. And his breaking Big Show's nose, that was a real shot. That was beautiful. Bloodied his nose.
Yeah.
Good job. It depends. Mike Tyson, when they brought Mike Tyson in, the guy was in his prime.
Who
That
was the most
absolutely
influential
brilliant.
star in the history of professional wrestling?
The most
Yes,
influential
that star that came from the mainstream into pro wrestling in any shape or fashion that changed the face of who would be your number one choice. I don't want you to forget about, right? Don't forget about
we have
Andy Kaufman. I'm not even just talking about WWE, man.
Well, to tell you the
right?
truth, if you really want to go back to where it all, I mean, dude, this is a very interesting question, okay? Because let's not forget, you and I probably first looked at our first celebrity,
Right.
was when Gorilla Monsoon picked up Muhammad Ali and spun him around on his shoulders and threw Muhammad Ali over that top rope. And you knew, no matter how badass Muhammad Ali was, he didn't stand a chance against Gorilla Monsoon.
That's a
Gorilla
great
Monsoon
point.
would have ripped his damn head off, all 400 pounds of him.
That's a great point.
Hey, heavyweight champion of the world, you're a fly compared to me. Fling.
Yep.
And by the way, wrestling stars have transcended into Hollywood way before this. The other night I was watching, I know you call me old hat, and you're right. I was watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, and who's guesting? Freddie Blassie, baby, in his prime.
But you're going,
when he was in his prime.
But you're going reverse. I'm
I
asking
understand.
you, what is the most,
I think the
from
most
mainstream into wrestling, most important
I
figure?
think the most important one is Andy Kaufman.
Wow.
And the
Wow.
reason why, well, let me tell you my reasons why. Andy Kaufman opened the door to mainstream celebrities getting the attention of the mainstream populace by doing what he did, by Jerry Lawler attacking him on the David Letterman show, who, by the way, when David Letterman first broke, he was our guy.
Right.
You remember this.
Sure.
That was our generation. Like these guys today, like let's say, David Letterman comes and pops up on the scene. This was our guy.
Yeah.
He was as cool as could be. And here's Andy Kaufman, who we loved from Taxi. People have to understand what a kind of superstar Andy Kaufman was.
Right.
And then you have Jerry Lawler. And wrestling fans have to understand who don't know from back then what a superstar Jerry Lawler was. So when he threw that coffee on him and the slap and everything like that, that made major, major news. And it opened the door to just a few years later. Here's Cyndi Lauper. Here's Mr. T. So to me, that was very, very groundbreaking and paved the way for the sports entertainment that Vince McMahon thought to himself one night in 1984, hey, what if I did something else, something different? And I give Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler all the credit for that. I believe that's where it really took off and allowed everything else to become WWE as an entertainment.
Fair
And
enough.
oddly enough, it wasn't even Vince's idea, which probably bothers him to this day.
Well,
You
I think he capitalized on it, right?
I sure did.
Let me ask you this. Here's
everybody.
an interesting thing, right? So,
Yeah.
you're a rocker. Were you a Cyndi Lauper fan? Were you a Cyndi Lauper fan?
No. But I will say
Did
this
you
much-
become a Cyndi Lauper
No.
fan knowing
Nope.
that Captain
No,
Lou
as
Albano
far as
was
her
in her
music-
videos?
As far as her music goes, no. But I will say this, though.
You don't remember Lou Albano in her videos on MTV?
Dude, let me make it clear about Cyndi Lauper. For a guy who was a metalhead, for a guy whose favorite band is the Beatles, for a guy who loves classic rock and classic heavy metal, time after time, if I had written that song, I'd be very, very proud and could sleep soundly at night.
Absolutely.
Cyndi Lauper has moments of genius, so I really don't, But I
guess
never
my point is,
ran for her
did,
records.
did
but she's
wrestling
talented.
fans become Cyndi Lauper fans because
Probably.
of that?
Probably.
And did
Sure.
Cyndi Lauper fans become wrestling fans?
Oh,
because
there's
of
no
that?
doubt about that. There's no doubt that Vince got new fans when Cyndi Lauper was brought in.
How about Pete
No
Rose?
doubt.
You didn't mention Pete Rose.
Oh, my God. The Pete Rose stuff with Kane was some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. When he came out there and he was insulting Boston, he was like, "Why don't you win a World Series?" This was before Boston had finally broken the, it was great. Pete Rose was hilarious.
Here's one you didn't mention, and
What's
this is
that?
probably Mr. T.
Of course, Mr. T is hugely important.
So Kaufman is over T?
Because he came first and because it opened the door for everything else, to me. In a lot of ways, yeah, I do think it was more important because you can't have one without the other, and something had to come first. You know what I'm saying?
So then going back, let's go back to, is it a good idea for AEW to bring in a star to push them forward?
I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think it depends on
Cheap
the
Heat,
star.
right? Cheap Heat.
Yeah, it's Shaquille O'Neal, really? I mean, come on. And again, another guy that the WWE already had in. Get original. You can't come up with
they
something.
dropped the ball with the Tyson thing with Jericho, right? That kind of
Yeah.
just like got washed away,
That's too bad.
right?
Yeah.
So why do you think they're going the Shaquille O'Neal way?
I just think that they want to get some attention.
TNT, basketball.
Yeah, that's lame. How about talking LeBron into doing something? See, now you're talking.
Now you're talking.
That's what I'm saying. This is not original. This is lame, and I don't want to see this. I don't want to see Cody versus Shaquille O'Neal again. Call CM Punk. I'd love to see CM Punk come in there and go, "You clowns are doing this all wrong." Let him go after Cody.
All right, we mentioned this a couple. Obviously, wrestling's getting a little better for you, right? Since
Yeah.
you've been talking, but you were not really high.
Oh,
on
I
it,
was
right?
really burned out on it recently, but okay.
How about we discussed this a couple? I think we actually discussed it with Tommy Rich, but
Tommy
how about
Rich.
bringing back the cliffhanger?
Oh, God, why not? Why can't they do that? I think every show should end with, "Oh, my God, I need to know what happens next week." That is so logical. I can't believe that no one does this anymore.
And why do you think the logic isn't followed?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just don't. I can't explain it. I just don't think that the writing is so. There's not enough Jim Cornettes running around. There has to be an in between. I'm not saying.
But
that,
you give Jim Cornette tons of screen
I love Jim
credit, man.
Cornette. I'm sorry. I think Jim
So,
Cornette is brilliant.
all right, so I'm gonna ask you this.
Know?
I'm gonna
You
ask-
can call me a douchebag.
But
and
no,
I'll say
but,
thank you.
but I'm gonna
thank you.
I'm gonna ask you
He's
this,
a
right?
laugher.
Bubba Ray Dudley,
Yeah.
right? Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
These guys have been bookers for other organizations and failed miserably.
Jim Cornette is not a failed booker, dude. Look up his history.
How he was not very successful in the 1990 WWE.
Who the F was?
Well, he was in charge of it. He was a booker,
Yeah,
right?
but it was a
He
bad
was a
time.
story writer,
it was
right?
it was a bad time for. Look, he crashed and burned, just like everybody does from time to time. I mean,
So
you know,
Jim
Vince,
Cornette
Vince hasn't
obviously-
consistently been great
Jim
over the
Cornette
years.
obviously is a very smart guy.
He is. He's
A
brilliant.
great wrestling mind.
Oh yeah.
But tell me where he was successful running an organization. Please tell me.
Well, what you may or may not know.
I mean,
is
you
this-
brought it up. That's what I'm
well,
asking.
he had. Well, let me ask you this. You know, he was. How does this crop sound? Because he helped groom these guys: Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Batista. That sound good?
Okay, so he helped groom
That's a
him.
nice. That's
So
a
he
nice
helped
crop.
groom him.
Now you know he was in charge of Ohio Valley / which became NXT. So he
Sure.
was behind. Let me put it this way: the last great crop to show up was his. And
Oh, you know
well,
what?
you know,
I'm not so sure
not,
about
not,
that.
Not entirely exclusively, but he had a lot to do with it, is what I'm saying. And I've always felt that when he's got his hands on something, you're at least going to get, because you were just saying to me last week, "Oh, I love when we do old school." Well, guess where that comes from? That comes from a mind like that. I think what we should have is something in the middle where you do have some of them now. You have to have something mod in your writers, but there should at least be one guy sitting there who knows what preserved the sport all these years to counter something. You know, and I don't think there's enough of that. Nowadays, it seems like the moderate way of looking at things doesn't want to hear from the traditional way. This could be politics, too, by the way. No one wants to listen to what's been done in the past and what worked for the older generation. Jim Cornette should still be sitting in a room somewhere in Connecticut with Vince.
But, well, why isn't he?
Because he's a freaking hothead personality who says whatever the hell he thinks, and sometimes people don't like that.
Vince would pull back Bruce Pritchard.
Right.
You know,
Right.
There's got to
Does
be
Vince
something.
really know what he's doing sometimes, though? Like, we brought back Bischoff. What did that last? Like 2 months?
I don't.
That was a mess.
I don't think Bischoff was a poor mind for the business. Is he,
Compare
Jim?
Bischoff's. Now, you know what's weird? You'll probably say Bischoff did better. But I don't think Bischoff has half the mind that Jim Cornette has for the business.
Neither do I. But I would
Okay.
say if you were to measure them up, I'd say
Bischoff's
Bischoff did better.
You know what that means? Vince Russo was a genius. That's what that means.
I think under I'll use the same
You know
mantra
what I'm
that
getting
everybody
at.
else is using. Under the control of Vince McMahon, he was a genius. By himself, he was a madman.
You want to hear something weird? You know whose booking I actually really enjoy? Like on the network, for example, I'll go and look at the old shows from different companies. I loved Bill Watts' booking. I love watching a Bill Watts show. I feel like I'm watching those early 80s WWF type matches before things got goofy.
Come on, man. Really?
No, really. I
Did
really
you see
enjoyed...
WCW? Well,
I'm
yeah,
talking
WCW
Mid-South.
Bill
I'm not
Watts.
talking
Okay, all right.
WCCW. I'm talking Mid-South.
Because WCW Bill Watts was just bad.
Oh, of course,
It
that was
bad.
dude, that was a shit fest.
WWF Bill Watts was
Shitfest.
bad.
Right.
Yeah.
When he was on his own back in the day.
So there's a guy who's on his own, maybe does a little something.
Yeah, I wonder if they just function better on their own.
Well-
what did you think of Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
Well, let me
put
put it this way. I think Bill Watts was an excellent judge of character.
Okay.
And he could build a star. I don't know how his storyline writing was, whatever. I wasn't watching
Who's the
at that
greatest
time.
booker in your opinion, Vince?
Of course.
He has to be, right?
By far.
After all these years, I can hear people throwing up. I'm sorry, folks, but you know what, though, with the body of work, how can you argue with Vince McMahon? He's presented almost 40 years of WrestleManias. You know, it's top shelf, one way or the other.
All right. The Bella Twins want one more WWE run.
Why?
We really want to go for those titles. The Bella Twins may not be done just yet. In a new interview with Access Promoting, the upcoming season of Total Bellas, host of the self-proclaimed WWE fan asked the Twins if they are now permanently retired from professional wrestling. As the old saying goes, never say never.
No, thanks. You want to see them back? Yeah, you probably do. Come on back and wear those shorts.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. It's like a lot of good stuff can go on, but not with COVID era wrestling.
Right. What would be the
I got to be honest with you. What's the best show on TV, wrestling show on TV right now?
the best
in Pharaoh's opinion?
The best wrestling show on television right now.
Right now.
Wow, you've really got me in a funny place. I'm wrestling in between back and forth AEW and SmackDown.
There you go. And I'll agree.
That's where I'm going back and forth. AEW, SmackDown.
Raw and NXT way
they're
behind.
not doing it for me at all. NXT is really, to me, slipped. But they did have an awesome pay-per-view recently, and there was some killer matches. There were a few. Walter, did you see the match with Walter? Oh my God, it was the most brutal, violent.
You know, if you're a pure wrestling fan,
Yeah, you love it.
you got to love it.
Yeah,
if you're not, which I'm not,
Yeah.
then I don't love it.
Yeah.
You know,
but you
so
know what's weird? NXT is starting to lose, and they have been for a while.
Right.
They're losing those sexy characters that they had. Like, remember what a great character Rick Rude, his NXT presentation. Bobby Roode,
yep.
Yeah. And Shinsuke Nakamura down there was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, they had interesting guys down there. Now I'm just like, whatever. I can't really grip on. And the one that I did love got injured, Cross. You know?
And Finn Balor,
Finn
still
Balor,
champion,
I
and he's
don't-
out and hurt.
Right.
Broken jaw, right?
How did that happen? I can't even remember.
In the title match.
Nia Jax got him?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So, Total Bellas, you don't care. Won't make a difference.
Dude, I was never a fan anyway. The one thing I will say is when Nikki gave a good match with Ronda. Remember that?
That was a great match.
That was really cool.
That was a great, great match.
That I'll give her. But in general, I have no interest in them. You know, they do a TV show. I could care less.
Revolution, why they ended that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They should never, we went there, right? It was good.
No, you went.
I went. That's
did
right.
Not
You didn't.
go. I was getting sickened by the over pushing.
I forgot.
Women's wrestling. Like it. If you don't, you're a pig. I was like, stop already with this. And what did it last? One pay-per-view, never to be heard from again.
Which is disappointing.
Yep.
MJF and Jericho going to Vegas. He's part of the inner circle.
He is part.
You mentioned the pay-per-view.
Yep.
Did you watch that pay-per-view?
I saw some of it on highlights because, as we talked about it, $49.95 during COVID era.
That's insanity.
You think I'm dropping $50 to see you guys? What, are you kidding me?
I agree.
You know, anybody got a hot box for sale? Dial 1-800-Pharaoh.
The hot box. There's no such thing anymore.
I know. There's
Holy
no
cow,
such.
bro!
By the way,
you're aging us now.
What? You know, I don't know.
For $50 for a
$50
pay-per-view.
To see what?
But then wait, fans will
although
say
you
you
would
pay
pay-
$9.99 a month for the network,
The $9.99 is a bargain.
but that's every month.
Right. So what? That means 12 months a year, or for $10 a month, I get to watch whatever the hell I want.
Right. I agree.
It's awesome.
And God forbid they give you a crap. Now, I watched it.
He hasn't raised that price, by the way, in the 8 years since he
The AEW pay-per-view was excellent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I didn't buy it. I found a way to watch it.
Sure.
But I wouldn't risk $50 for the... Imagine spending $50 on a WWE pay-per-view with the
Nope.
crap you get.
No.
You'd be miserable.
There's no way. And it's amazing, and that's another credit to what the Monday Night Wars were like, because we did pay to watch those. You
Well,
know?
they were great, though.
They were
They were
amazing.
great. Every
WCW
pay-per-view was a
too.
must-see.
Yep.
These aren't must-see. That's
Yep. Even
that's
ECW,
madness.
it felt so special. Like when they would do their pay-per-view, I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting that.
So what are your feelings about MJF?
I love
Jericho.
MJF. I think it's great. I think it's hilarious to see these two
Ready
together.
to turn Jericho face?
I guess so. What, is MJF going to take over the group?
Well, Sammy
What happened?
missed his flight. So
Sammy
he couldn't
missed
be
his
part
flight?
of
For real?
celebration, yeah.
Sammy must have. What is with Sammy? Sammy's a bit of a. He's fucking up left and
Well,
right.
maybe MJF didn't tell him when.
Oh, that's great.
you know
Are
what I
you
mean?
telling me that's what they did on this? That's hilarious.
And
dude.
MJF's a great poet. So I
he
thought
really?
before we go commercial break, maybe you
he's a-
put us out on a poem.
Me?
Yeah, you.
What, did you write me one, or am I just?
You're a poem. You're a poet if you didn't know it.
You just want me to throw out a poem as we go to commercial.
That's it. That's what we
Okay.
want.
Let me see. Oh my God, I'm high. Someone stole my bike. Where's my spokes? We'll be right back, folks.
Oh my God,
That was horrible.
that was horrible.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Jimmy.
They just took away my poet card, but go on.
Oh, come on. I put you on the spot.
Give me some slack. We're back.
Yeah, there you go. That's how easy that is.
I always do better in rhyming when I'm on crack. Anyway, go on.
That's another one. Nice job.
Yeah, well, you know.
2020 WWE tribute to the troops to special air on Fox this December.
They're bringing it
the
back.
18th annual. I guess not. It must be every year. WWE tribute to the troops will air on Fox on Sunday, December 6th, adjacent to Sunday's regional NFL broadcast. Viewers with the NFL matchup airing at 1 p.m. can watch WWE Tribute to the Troops at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Viewers with an NFL matchup airing at 4:05 Eastern Time can watch the special at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
What do you do if you're a Jet fan and you don't watch?
Well, that's an interesting question.
what do you
So, what does the WWE have to do to keep the football fan engaged in professional wrestling? Jimmy, you're the booker.
I'm the booker.
Yep.
Well, the first thing you do is you don't call Shaquille O'Neal. That's the first thing.
Okay.
What, for the tribute to the Troops show?
Yeah.
How do you compete with it? I don't think.
No, not compete with it. How you look? NFL fans are going to be watching, right?
Yeah.
So here comes.
How you gonna pull
How
them
you
in?
going to hold them there, keeping their attention, and say, "Hey, maybe I'm going to become a wrestling fan."
how about-
I mean, going back to what we talked about, bringing stars in.
Okay.
What would Jimmy Farrow do?
Well, if Rob Gronkowski hadn't come out of retirement, this would have been a great time to have him on the show.
It would have. Yeah.
It would have been a great time. I can't think of anybody else offhand. Is there any other football players that are available? You could do something to grab the football audience, but I can't think of anything offhand. The first thing I thought about was Gronkowski, and he's playing with Brady. They just got their ass kicked this week.
Myself says,
And
what's
I'm laughing.
happening? AEW needs better writers. Yes, they do. Sometimes. But you know what? Their writing's not bad. Their writing's not bad. I'm not an AEW fan at all. Do you bring back Stone Cold Steve Austin? Do you bring back The Undertaker? What are you going to do to bring people back attention to wrestling that is a football fan?
Is this all we keep doing? Is reaching backwards?
Which you hate.
Try to go
Which you hate, right?
forwards?
I understand. So what do you do?
I don't have a clue. This is during a football game.
Well, it's not during a football game, right? It's either like intermission or
Intermission? Okay. Somebody beat the crap out of Vince. He's so old at this point. Beat him up so badly, he looks like you murdered the poor old man. The ratings will go through the roof. Vince will do it. He's nuts. He'll be like, yeah, throw me off the top of the building.
What's your favorite wrestling angle right now?
I don't really know if I have one. I do like what Roman Reigns is doing. I'll give you that. You got me on board with that. Now I'm interested to see how he goes, further down the road here.
Do you like the way they turned Jey Uso to kowtowing to him instead of him just beating the crap out of Roman?
Why you gotta do me like this? Cuz? Why you gotta do me like this?
Some good acting, dude.
I understand now.
Well, you got memorized.
Yeah, I like it.
That's like
I
SmackDown,
thought
dude.
It was good. I was like, wow, this is cool. I like it. I also like watching MJF in the inner circle. That's interesting.
Well, let's not leave that though. Let's stick to the Roman Reigns thing.
Yeah,
right
I do like it.
How do you like the way
whatever.
Paul E is handling Roman Reigns right now?
Oh my God! I love when Paul E slips up and Roman's like lecturing him. You better get this right.
Yeah.
You're here so I don't have to deal with this. I
Yeah.
love how Roman is now. He's become so evil. I love it.
Right.
Where was this? For 5 years you were ramming him down our throat with the good guy stuff and everybody was begging for him to be this way. And now they turn him this way and there's no fans in the crowd. I would love to have seen what the reactions would have been while he's been doing this.
So you've got two trails we can go down.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns Rock, which I would love.
I know.
Roman Reigns Lesnar again.
I think either way they win, right? Box office. They win either way.
I guess.
Box office. You prefer The Rock, of course. Of course.
I prefer The Rock.
You have to, even on a business level.
Oh, yes.
As great as Brock Lesnar is for business, and he is, The Rock is greater for
Remember,
business.
when 10 years go down the road, when you're buying a DVD at 60 years old, it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, the feud.
Yeah, it's been a great feud. It actually has been a pretty great feud over the years.
Jimmy, what is the greatest professional wrestling rivalry in the history of professional wrestling?
What are you doing to me today? Wow. The greatest rivalry ever?
Ever. Give me your top 5 rivals.
Oh, boy.
And does,
all right.
does
my
Lesnar
God.
and Reigns fall in that top 5?
No. I can tell you that right off the bat, no.
Okay.
Okay, let's spit out some of what I consider the greatest feuds ever or the greatest matchups. I know you'll probably yell at some of them, whatever. Hogan Savage was one of the greatest feuds ever. Steamboat Flair, I don't give a damn. It was one of the greatest feuds ever.
Fair enough.
Austin Rock was one of the greatest feuds ever. Boy, oh boy, with on that level, you got a couple more. You give me some help. My God, I just mentioned Hogan Savage and Austin Rock and
Jim
Steamboat
Terry in the
Flair.
house.
Hey yo,
He's saying Freebirds Von Erichs. I love that
you know what? My God,
We're
what a
talking,
feud that-
but Jim, we're
you could
talking
say
about
Rock and
top
Roll
5.
Express,
We're
Midnight
talking top
Express.
5.
You know,
We got to talk top 5.
right.
Von Erichs Freebirds a great feud.
Right.
You know how much I love the Freebirds and the Von
Right.
Erichs, but I
Right.
don't know if it falls in the top 5.
Right.
It's in the top 10.
Part
for
of me
sure.
wants to say San Martino Hansen or San Martino Zbyszko. Trying to think of other great feuds. I mean, what about Dusty Rhodes and Harley Race or Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair? I mean, there's been so many great feuds over the years. I think I've spit out enough. You got any for me that you could think of offhand? How about great wrestlers who may not necessarily have?
I would probably go with Michaels Hart,
Okay, sure. Wow, that one was laced in reality.
Piper Hogan.
Okay. Would have been nice to have more one-on-ones. They didn't really play nice together behind the scenes, so we didn't really get to see as much of that as we would have liked to.
There's
It's difficult,
many.
these questions you ask me, aren't they? This is rough. How about great wrestlers who never had that amazing classic match? How about a guy like Kevin Nash? Where's your classic? We should do a little segment called Where's Your Classic?
Right? You're asking me Kevin Nash's classic?
No, I'm saying where's your classic match? Here's a legendary wrestler. He is. He's Kevin Nash. Where's your classic
we
match?
can't. Kevin Nash. There's
When
no
Hogan
classics.
turned? When Hogan
There
turned?
is no classic Kevin Nash. By the way, Jimmy.
Interesting to think about. There
So
are some great
Jim
wrestlers
Terry,
that
who's
never...
a fan of the show,
Okay.
To Jim, if you're new to the show, this is the Pharaoh, the star of the show. He says your top 5 is because you didn't have a dish to watch at the time.
Woo!
it's fair, right? You might not have been able to see all Mid-South and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Sure it is. Well, what did I tell you a couple of weeks ago? I was bitching about the fact that TBS/NWA never gave us the monthly Omni shows.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's a business mistake from the boys down south. That was a business mistake. All the money.
One of many.
One of many, right? They made one after another.
You could have made Northeast fans. Like, you could see us leaving the WWE to watch some of that stuff.
Oh, we love Georgia Championship Wrestling. We love that stuff. So absolutely, they didn't take advantage of the fact that we were drooling for that stuff up here. They missed a lot of money.
Morocco Snooker.
Morocco Snooker was great. Greg Valentine, Wahoo McDaniel. I broke Wahoo's leg.
Yeah, that's big.
That was great. Wait a minute. Greg Valentine versus Roddy with the...
Absolutely.
Oh, what are we talking with the dog collar? Boy, there's been a lot of great feuds.
Absolutely.
But in recent years, we have Reigns, Lesnar. I mean, think about that compared to some of these other ones we were naming. I'm trying to think of what else has been a great
So my point,
feud.
does Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar have a chance to be in the top 10 greatest feuds of all time?
No.
Never, ever, no matter what ends up after it's all said and done.
That would really be in the eye of the beholder who's making the list. Like, listen again, I'm a realist, okay? There's a lot of young fans out there, and I hope that they watch us. And I really appreciate how they look at wrestling, too.
Yes.
There's a lot of younger fans who absolutely adore a lot of the guys that we don't.
Dusty Sullivan. We've had Sullivan in the studio. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, we don't necessarily feel the same magic that they made for their guys.
Absolutely.
This is their generation.
Absolutely.
Matt was a big-time wrestling fan. He may love Roman Reigns. The guy's great. I love him. Because that's the guy he grew up with watching.
Yes.
It all depends, I do think we were lucky. Our timing was good. We may be older now, but we saw the Hogan era. We saw WrestleMania come to birth. We saw the Attitude Era. We've seen the birth of independent wrestling really explode onto the scene.
Yep.
New Japan, international stars. We've seen it all, So it really all depends on what era you came from. Wait a minute. For the fellow who said something about the dish, could I even have a dish back in the 80s? Did they have those things? I don't want to sound like a dinosaur.
If you were rich, you could have a satellite dish.
Sorry, bro. I wasn't going to have a dish.
Well, I don't think anyone had a dish, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We had dishes. We had those TV dinners we loved.
Yeah, that's right.
Those were really good.
All right, with that, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
We shall return.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence. Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB. The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced at Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York.
And I'd just like to say that Matt's a true professional while I'm throwing raspberries all over the place.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
You can catch Monte The Pharaoh on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page, the Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, and Saturday from 6 to 6:30 a.m. on Channel 20 on Fridays at 2:30 in the morning.
You get up 6:30 in the morning?
Sometimes, depends if I'm up
with
or
your
not.
Kellogg's Captain Crunch?
No Captain Crunch, just a cup of coffee.
Oh, okay. Cup of coffee. All right. With creamer or with regular milk? I got this thing for creamers now since I found Bailey's.
Now I'm just drinking it black.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm changing to black.
Okay.
Just like my women.
Wubbit?
Listen, so if you go to the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page, you could also catch the Pharaoh's Corner, which was a wonderful Halloween classic.
Thank you. Thank you. We try.
So Jim Terry, he writes, Long Island, LOL. What does that mean?
Here we go. What do you mean? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Home of the Islanders?
I guess he
and-
does. Number one Long Island doesn't mean enough, I guess, is what he's trying to say.
Oh, really?
Well, we're not going to turn around. We'll say we're nationwide number one, but we're close. But we're not that close, right? We got to still.
Does he have any idea how many millions of people are crammed in over here?
Well, I don't
in
think he
Long Island?
realizes that
We're
Long
like,
Island's as big as Texas.
yeah, we got more people than like
So
third
being
world
a free,
countries.
being a free Bird Von Erich guy, he should understand how popular we truly are.
If I leave here tomorrow, I'm a Freebird guy.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody for the show today. We'll be back next week. I believe we have Ken Patera in studio next Saturday.
Nice. Nice.
I just have to verify. Pharaoh, you have any parting thoughts?
Yeah, if we are going to have Ken Patera in, let's definitely not take him to McDonald's.
Wow, that's a really good point.
He's got a
With
little
that,
bit
this
of
is Mike
history.
Monte.
This is the Pharaoh, and until next week, later.